Hey everyone, I hope you had a great day. Today we are looking at some new r/malicious compliance stories. I hope you enjoy the video. If you like the video, don't forget to hit that button. It really helps the channel. The first story is called Sometimes Listening Can Help. A couple of years ago I was working in a discount clothing store. The kind of store that would have their own brands who looked like popular expensive brands for a fraction of the cost. Now, due to this, we had low staff numbers, high staff turnover and archaic machines that ran on Windows 95. This also meant that we would have to do all price changes by hand. And that the scan tags on the clothing didn't work half the time, including sales, which happened pretty much 24/7 there. Instead, we would have to figure out what the low poly image on the computer was or try and scour the store to see if we had an item. We were a big target for terrorists, as most of our shirts were cheap and had Canada written in big letters on them. Due to this, I would frequently get the bazaar barters who would bring up 50 shirts to the counter. And then ask, because they are buying all of these 5 for $10 shirts, can they get some for free? After which you tell them no, they'd buy 5 and leave the other 45 for you to fold. But we had one guy that took the cake. We were having a huge blowout sale happening to get rid of our overstock on a type of shirt that didn't sell well. And they were being marked down to 10 for $5. The company really wanted them gone, to the point where we were told to throw them on for free. However, as I said, we had to do price downs by hand. And due to company policy, we could not give them the deal until the sale adjustment was complete. So this guy walks in, all bombastic, sizing me and my only other coworker up while in his cheap polyester suit, wanting to buy around 20 shirts off of the problem shirt rack. The only problem is that we haven't priced them down due to a lack of materials and time. So they still read $5 each, still a pretty good price for a shirt. He slams down the shirts, we greet him with the salesman's smile plastered to our face, go on about is this everything and so on. When he cuts us off, he demands that we shut up and take his money so he can get out. Of course, me being a decent person, I tried to point out the new sale and I was even going to honor it despite the lack of manners. But he wouldn't have it and said, "Don't feed me your salesman BS. I just want my shirts and I want to leave. Is that too hard for your thick head to understand?" So in classic malicious compliance, I ring up the shirts, take his card and carefully tell him and write on his receipt, "No refunds." We couldn't do this on sale items anyways. And as all items are on sale all the time, we could never take any items back. I enjoyed his face when I put up the 10 for $5 sign up on the rack he just purchased. He tried to fight it, but ultimately lost after security dragged him out for trying to throw a punch at me in anger. The next story is called Coupon Compliance. My extended family and I went to McDonald's at our nearest mall. McDonald's has this phone app where you can use coupons to get extra fries or save a little money. One of the rules for the app is that you can only use one coupon per phone. My cousin Ellie knew this and prepared to make 2 separate transactions. She was trying to order food for her and her little sister Anna. Anna gave Ellie her phone so that when Ellie ordered, she could use her coupon. Ellie walks up to the register with 2 phones in hand, hers and Anna's. And the minute Ellie walked up, the employee scowled. Ellie starts ordering for herself and scans her coupon from her own phone. She finishes her transaction and begins to start ordering for her sister. The employee immediately says, "No, only 1 coupon per person." And Ellie says, "Yes, I'm ordering for someone else." The employee again, scowling, yelling, "No, you have 2 phones, you can't do that." Ellie gestured to Anna, saying, "I'm ordering for her." The employee says, "No, you can't use the coupons." This went on for quite a while, and I could see Ellie and the employee arguing from a few meters away. And that she wasn't technically breaking any rules if she was ordering for 2 different people from 2 different phones with 2 different transactions. Ellie at this point was quite annoyed, and what she did next seemed to really anger the lady even more. She wasn't going to give up on the coupons, so she gestured to Anna, telling her to come over. She thrust the phone into Anna's hand and then said, "She's ordering." And then she repeated the order. The lady was quite angry at this point, but she reluctantly let her use the coupon and went through with the order. My aunt was laughing from a few yards away. She was curious to see the rating and reviews for that McDonald's, and when we checked it out, they had 2 stars. What do you think about today's video? Please let me know in the comment section below. The third story is called I Gave Her the Honor. I own a mail shop. You've probably seen 100 like mine. We have mailboxes we rent, and we rented one. We just call him box 109. 109 wasn't a nightmare customer, but he also was never pleasant. He always accused us of changing the lock on his box because his key didn't work. Inevitably, he just wasn't using it correctly, and I'm aware of how crazy this sounds. So he closes his box. We are required under the United States Postal Service to hold mail for 6 months, and then we can return to sender or send to the customer's last known address. We are not required to provide this mail free of charge in the interim. Usually, if it's just a piece or two or something we know is important, we call the customer and hand it over with a smile. Well, 109 tells my employee that he is expecting some mail from the DMV, and he'd like her to tell him when it's here. Time goes by, we are now at 6 months and I'm getting ready to return to sender. My employee sees the stack, mostly stuff from the IRS, and says, "Oh, let me call him." I say, "Okay, that's awfully nice of you, go for it." So she calls. He comes in and proceeds to berate her for calling him for mail he doesn't want. Apparently the letters from the IRS are just annoyance letters he intends to ignore. He leaves before I get the chance to kick him out. Too slow on the draw. It's now been 8 months since his box closed. Guess what came for him the other day? His stimulus check. My employee looked torn and I told her he said everything from the IRS is just crap. Return it to sender. We are just doing exactly what he requested. I gave her the honor of doing it. The last story is called Give People an Inch and They Will Take a Mile. I used to work at a drive-up storage facility. We had pretty cheap prices and a few deals, so we got 3 types of people renting. Normal people, business people, and people who try to live out of the storage units and stay in the facility most of the day, rearranging the storage units so they had an excuse to stay. Now our story begins with the normal people. Most normal people are normal, as you would think. They are moving and need a place to store stuff. Most of the time they aren't happy with moving, and that makes sense. I try to be patient and kind. One facility rule the owner had me enforce was that we need to kick everyone out of the facility at 8 sharp. No exceptions. The office closes before then, and my job was to drive back at 8 every night and check the whole facility. By the way, I'm not on the clock for time. I'm supposed to just do a security check. Enter a family with an older lady and her daughter renting a unit. They were easy to work with. I respect elders a lot, so I usually try to be extra friendly to older people. The move-in day. They had a big old truck full of stuff. It looked like a lot of stuff was gonna be stacked in the unit. Of course, when I come back later that night, they are still there, unloading stuff. They had a bunch of guys helping them. I drive up and remind them of the rules. They must be out by 8. But we are almost done. We can get more in. Just need a few minutes. With previous experience, I knew how this was gonna go. I repeated the rules and told them they also signed a contract that they'd obey these rules. But I said that I'd checked the rest of the facility first so they could wrap up. They said thank you. I finish and drive to the front, and of course they aren't there. I get out of my car and walk over to them. And they are still going strong on loading. So I decided to pressure a little and walk over and let them know once again the facility is closed. I stand next to them for 30 minutes. They finally decide they aren't gonna finish tonight and pack up. 50 minutes after the facility closed, I let them out of the locked gate and went home at 9. Now, my boss caught wind of this. My boss was a real stickler for rules and stuff. He kind of had a notion that people would follow contract rules if they were enforced. But I knew people would just push our limits. My boss told me that we needed to keep the gate locked after closing time and we can't have people staying late. I didn't want to stay that late either. The next day they came back, late. They got there as the office was closing in the evening to continue unloading. I really hoped they got the message the first time, but lo and behold, when I came for the security check, they were there unloading what seemed to be a new load. I wasn't as patient with them this time. I wasn't rude, but I was definitely being more blunt with how I talked to them. I let them know again that they needed to leave immediately. Okay, we are just finishing up. I had heard that one before. This time I circled the unit block they were at, and every time I passed, I let them know I was done with the rest of the facility. They seemed to get the picture, but the clock was still ticking. And by the time they closed the unit and I tailgated the truck out of there, it had already been another 40 minutes past. I was tired of getting lectured by my boss on how we needed to enforce these rules. For some reason he had a mindset that I was letting them stay and being nice. No, the first time I was nice. But I wasn't letting them stay and I can't physically force these people out. So it's time for malicious compliance. On the third day they were finishing the unloading. While on site I saw them and went up to them and just gave them a pass-by reminder that they needed to wrap up before 8. Later that night I check and yep, they are still there. I'm getting a bit peeved at this point, so I check the facility quickly. Then I decide to drive out. The front gate has a code lock that denies codes after 8:10. Yeah, there was even a grace period. Since they had me let them out every time, they didn't know their code wouldn't work. At least, since they didn't seem to know the rules, they definitely didn't read that in bold highlighted in our contract. So, as per my boss's order, I left the gate locked and left. I lived close by, so I went home and got a snack. I watched a couple shows, then about 9:40 went back to the facility to find them stuck at the gate. They were not happy. But as I let them out, I said to them, the facility closes at 8 sharp and this gate locks. We aren't always around to let you out, that's why we post the close times everywhere. A lie, since I checked it every day, but I didn't want them to think they could get away with it anymore. They just angrily left, but I didn't have a problem with them again. I do feel bad for that older lady, but I don't know, they just weren't listening. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like. And if you want to see more videos, don't forget to subscribe. Have a great day and stay safe. Bye bye.